but come on up. I promise this will be brief. I know y'all have been in the sun for a good long time, and I appreciate that. As a reminder, there is a water truck and a cooling bus. If the heat gets too much for you, please be safe. Come into the shade, do what you gotta do. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jessica Doonan. I'm the Chief of Staff for the Disability Commission. I work for Commissioner McCosh, who will speak in a moment. We just wanted to welcome you to the event. Thank you so much for coming. This is our wonderful annual event that we're very proud of, and it's so great to see so many familiar faces and also some new people. So thank you so much for making that happen. And without further ado, I hand it over to Commissioner McCosh.
Thank you, Jessica. And I want to start out by welcoming everybody to our ADA Day celebration. This is our seventh annual celebration on City Hall Plaza. And we are thrilled to be here today to talk about the civil rights law that was passed in 1990. I can't believe it's been 28 years, but we all know we've come a long way in those 28 years, and we still have a long way to go. I'd also like to begin by thanking Mayor Walsh and Chief Martinez, who's the Chief of the Health and Human Services Cabinet for the City of Boston. I want to thank them both for their commitment to my office, but also to persons with disabilities throughout the city. The Mayor really prioritizes accessibility and inclusion in all his work, and we can see that in the changes across the city. Starting right here on City Hall Plaza. We've done a lot of improvements for access in coordination with the MBTA, the new government center station that opened a few years ago, and also the new paving materials that make it much easier to cross the plaza. Work will be starting soon inside City Hall to improve accessibility, and also more work will be done on the plaza this winter. So, like I said, the Mayor prioritizes accessibility in all his work, and he prioritizes people with disabilities by supporting my office through my incredible staff. And I'd like to thank them all for their hard work all year round, and especially their hard work today. So if my staff could raise their hands, and we could give them a round of applause. We have Jessica Doonan, who opens it up. She's my Chief of Staff. We have Chris Morowski, who is our end-all, be-all in the office. The office wouldn't work without Chris. Winston Pierre is our Outreach and Inclusion Specialist. And then I have a great architectural access team, Patricia and Sarah. A lot of you know them and love them, so thank you all again. So, like I said earlier, we're here to celebrate the ADA, but we're also here to celebrate employment. Every year we pick a theme for the celebration, and this year we want to focus on employment of persons with disabilities. And there are a few reasons for that. First of all, I've been working internally on a city policy about accessibility and hiring practices, and I know Chief Martinez will talk a little bit about other policies that the city is undertaking to improve access. But we also have a long-standing partnership with the Mass Rehab Commission. We've been working with them for 7 years. Every year we do an internship program with Boston residents who have disabilities. They come to work in City Hall for 6 weeks with the hope and expectation of applying for a job at the end. So we owe a great deal of gratitude to Mass Rehab for finding candidates with disabilities who are seeking jobs and helping them get back to work. Other work we do in my office, we do programs and services, and as I mentioned a minute ago, a lot of our work focuses on architectural access. We work to improve the built environment in the city, whether it's buildings, sidewalks, streets, parks, anything that's built in Boston, we try to include accessibility as a priority. And on that note, I would like to thank the advocates who are here for literally paving the way across the city. One other thing I want to mention that my office is doing is an accessibility priority survey. We kicked this off last year on ADA Day, and it's wrapping up at the end of this month. This is a tool that we're using to figure out what the priorities should be for us to focus on in the coming years. So if you haven't filled it out yet, please see one of my staff, and we'd love to get your input on priorities across the city. With that, I would like to introduce Chief Martinez to say a few words from the Health and Human Services Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let's hear it again for Commissioner McCosh and the work that she leads in our city. I want to thank you all for being here today to help celebrate the 28th year of the passage of the ADA, the American with Disabilities Act, which we all know prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities with respect to employment, transportation, public accommodations, communications, and access to state and local government. And trust when I say, standing here today on behalf of Commissioner McCosh and Mayor Walsh, that we stand strong through this leadership to make sure that we will work tirelessly to make sure Boston's a place where all people have the same opportunity to thrive. And that's what it's about for us, making sure that all people have the same opportunity to thrive and get ahead. And that's what we will continue to do. And so I appreciate you all being here to celebrate with us. One of the things that I want to stress and share with all of you is through Mayor Walsh and Commissioner McCosh's leadership, there's many things that have been launched in the city to help us address some of these issues. Our first accessibility survey aimed at collecting information to learn what the most significant accessibility-related needs are in Boston, so the city can understand what those needs are and shape them through its strategic priorities. The city's advocated for increased ADA build-out units in city-funded developments with the goal of making these developments accessible to all. During the weekend of the 2018 Boston Marathon, the Disabilities Commission joined with the Office of New Urban Mechanics and Area to link individuals who are blind or have low vision with an app that provides real-time access to a sighted guide. This was the first ever accessible marathon in the city of Boston. And it speaks, yeah, let's hear it for that. First ever, please. And what it speaks to is Commissioner McCosh's leadership and her team, which is to not just settle for what we're doing today, but how do we think about the next top of resources, the next level of opportunities? How do we make sure that we make our city as accessible as possible and as equitable as possible? Not just settling for what we're doing today, but the impact we want to make tomorrow. The commissioner is consistently and her team working to do that, whether it's holding a disability forum to make sure folks have access to issues and feedback, whether it's the Transportation Summit to ensure that folks can give opinions and thoughts about how to make our city an even stronger place. The city's also worked with the Language Access and City Services and Communication. It's a citywide language and communication access strategic plan to make sure folks can have access and reach all the communications that our city has. They're now beginning the early implementation phase, and again, it's about making sure that the work brings accessibility to all corners of our community. So as we celebrate all the accomplishments and as we celebrate all the work that the folks have done and all of you have done as community providers and activists, my one challenge to you to join with me is let's make sure we continue to raise our voices. Sometimes in celebration we forget that we have to raise our voices to ensure all of our needs get met. And it's important that we do that here. I want to listen to those needs, and none of this would be possible of either the celebration of the work we've done or the progress we've made in the city without the support of our mayor, who continues to be a champion for all things in our community to make them accessible and equal for all Bostonians. Help me welcome our great mayor, Marty Walsh.
Thank you very much, Marty, and I want to thank you, Chief Martinez, for your great work. I want to thank Commissioner McCosh and her team at the Disabilities Commission for doing such incredible work in our city for many, many years here. Members of the Disability Advisory Board, thank you for being here with us today. All the advocates that are here, thank you for being here as well, and thank you, more importantly, for all your advocacy, both here and at the state and the federal level. I also want to just make a couple of mentions of a few people that are here. We're joined by City Councilor Eddie Flynn is with us. Thank you, Councilor Flynn, who's with us today. We have Emily Shea, who's the Commissioner of Elderly Affairs. Emily, thank you, Commissioner Shea. Alejandra St. Guillen, our Office of Immigrant Advancement, is here with us. Thank you, Alejandra, for being here with us today. And Commissioner of Veteran Services, Giselle Sterling. Thank you, Commissioner, for being with us today. and I want to thank so many other people too, and I'll get to you as, hopefully I'll get to you as we're moving forward here. But I'm proud to join you in celebrating ADA Day and civil rights for people with disabilities. The City of Boston is committed to equally and empowering all people. We worked hard to ensure that residents and visitors fully are included in our city life and all the opportunities that this city has to offer. A crucial part of our success is access for people with disabilities. We recently completed a full renovation of the Boston City Council chamber, and we made it ADA compliant, where in the past people were having a very difficult time accessing the well of the chamber, and that's no longer the case. This makes it possible for people with disabilities to actively participate in their local government. We are also in the process of renovating City Hall Plaza to make it more accessible, and we're asking you to be patient with us. I know it's tough, the bricks are tough, and navigating on the plaza is tough, so we are working to fix that. We're also renovating inside City Hall to make it a better user-friendly, a citizen-friendly building, so people can get access the services that they need in City Hall and get to the departments that they have to get to. Out in our neighborhoods, we're making our parks and green space more accessible. We're building Martin's Park, named in honor of young Martin Richard. This park will be a model of inclusion and accessibility, so kids of all abilities can play together. And we're going to be doing that we're going to be working that program in all of our parks. But we know true access to inclusion is more than just ramps and sidewalks and parking spaces. It only happens when people with disabilities are given equal opportunity to participate in every aspect of society. That includes voting, transportation, education, and jobs. We're thinking about how to improve access and ensure true inclusion in everything that we do. These are the values that we care deeply about in the City of Boston. For the past 7 years, we've been working with an agency who shares these values, the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission. The MRC has been a great partner to us, and we want to recognize them now. We have a proclamation that we'd like to recognize them with, and I'll read a few of the whereases. Whereas the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission has been a leader in vocational rehabilitation services since 1956. Whereas the MRC has never wavered in its pursuit of equity, access, and inclusion in employment for all people with disabilities. Whereas the MRC has made a strong commitment to the City of Boston through its collaboration with the Mayor's Commission for Persons with Disabilities. Whereas the MRC continues to seek out and serve Boston residents with disabilities, one of the city's most underserved population, to assist them in gaining employment. Therefore, I, Martin J. Walsh, Mayor of the City of Boston, do hereby proclaim today, July 24th, 2018, to be Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission Day in the City of Boston. Thank you.
I just want to say on behalf of Commissioner Wolf and the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission, I sincerely thank Mayor Walsh and Commissioner McCosh for this honor. I want to acknowledge the strong partnership between the Mass Rehab Commission and the City of Boston for over 7 years, providing internship and mentorship to individuals with disabilities that have resulted in not just internship and mentorship, but competitive employment. I thank you, Commissioner McCosh, for your dedication to this project. And thanks to the MRC staff, in particular Margie Gilligan, Matt Barad, and the staff of the Roxbury and Downtown Office of the Mass Rehab Commission for your commitment to the success of this internship. I just want to say that 20 years after the passing of the ADA, the unemployment rate for individuals with disabilities is still unacceptably high. However, I'm pleased to report that thanks to MRC staff and our employer partners, including the City of Boston, that the MRC continues to use innovative strategies, including this internship project with the city, job-driven trainings and hiring events, among others, that have resulted in 4,053 individuals with disabilities obtaining competitive integrated employment. Thanks again for this honor, Commissioner McCosh. Thank you so much for your support, and we look forward to a continued and successful partnership with the City of Boston. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joan. And on that note, we have one of our former interns who was hired by the City of Boston here today just to say a few words about her experience and what a benefit it was to go through the internship program and end up with a job at the end of the summer. So I'd like to welcome Alice. She's coming up now. Where I have a minute, I would like to invite my Chief of Staff to the podium, and also our main contact with the Mass Rehab Commission, Marty Gilligan, who's been working with us for 7 years tirelessly to find us candidates and work hard on prepping them, getting job descriptions together, and just really working her tail off to get this internship program running. So we have a little thank you for Margie. We just want to present to her for all of her hard work. And I'd love to give us a round of applause for Margie Gilligan from Mass Rehab. Thank you, Margie.
So I just like to say thank you to Commissioner McCosh and Jessica Doonan and all their staff for all the hard work that they do on behalf of our candidates with individuals with disabilities that we work with together. And it's been a great run, 7 years, and a lot of our individuals are now employed, and we're waiting for Alice Green, who's coming up now, who works for the city, to speak. Thank you.
Great. So as you can tell, I'm not Alice Green, but she is on her way up. She is employed under inspectional services, and so she is rushing over here, and I think is making her way from the train. So we don't want to rush her. We want her to be able to have her speaking portion and then be able to get back. So the one quick thing is that I wanted to say, so Boston Center for Independent Living, as Chief Martinez said, we have to keep raising our voices and we have to keep advocating for disability rights. Boston Center for Independent Living is a long-standing independent living organization that we work with in partnership. It does a lot of great advocacy in the city, and currently one of the things that they're working on is related to architectural access. And there are a couple bills that they've been working on, that they've been advocating for, and so they have more information. You can see Colin in the back who's waving his hand. And so if you'd like more information about the work that they're doing specifically related to legislation and disability rights, specifically related to architectural access in offices and workspaces, you can talk to Colin in the back under the tent, or Shea French as well. I think they're going to be meeting after the speaking portion under the tent. And so now, I think now without further ado, we have Alice Green.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. It is so good to be here. I didn't think I was going to make it. So, Commissioner McCosh, it is always a pleasure to see you. I don't know if the mayor's around, but good afternoon, Mayor Walsh. Ladies and gentlemen, Mass Rehab. I am a former participant of Mass Rehab. 2013, I attended an internship at the ISD office, 1010 Mass Ave. It was so great, I stayed and volunteered. And it was so much the honor of doing so that they actually hired me, and I've been there ever since. So, thank you. So for those who are attending Mass Rehab and other programs like that, I say definitely, when you do internships, kudos, enjoy, especially if they're paid, but don't let that stop you from volunteering and continuing to take hold of the opportunity to go back and re-grab whatever usefulness you felt before whatever disabled you. re-grab your usefulness, your youth and your strength, and participate. Participate, whether it's volunteering, whether it is to continue to do internships, because they open so many doors and opportunities that are just waiting for you to say, yes, I want to be a part. There are so many people who will help you to do that if you will just say, yes, I'm here and I want to be here. So I don't know if that helps anybody in their decision to continue, but definitely it has been so gratifying. And you know what? I think that anything that you do because you love to do it doesn't really feel like work, and the time just flies by. So thank you for having me again here this year to say a couple of words, and much success to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thanks again to Alice, who rushed over here on her lunch hour and has to get right back to work. I also just wanted to give one more shout out to Mass Rehab, because I was also a Mass Rehab client after high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do, I didn't know what I could do, but I knew I wanted to go to work. So I signed up as a client of Mass Rehab, and they helped guide me through the process of figuring out what my skills were, helping me look at internships. I also volunteered and did internships, and I can say that I've proudly been working full-time for 25 years. So I know the benefits of Mass Rehabilitation. And with that, we just want to wrap it up and thank everybody again for coming to our ADA Day celebration. We look forward to seeing you here again next year, and make sure you keep a lookout for all the improvements that are coming on City Hall Plaza and in Boston City Hall to increase ADA compliance in both areas. Have a great day, everybody.